Okay. So last problem in this first third of the course, probably the second toughest or equally toughest problem as medium of group frequency data is the standard deviation or variance of group frequency data. There's just a good deal of work. And there's a lot of calculations, so I did it ahead of time for you, and I'm going to point out what I did. Hopefully that'll still help you, okay? So when you're calculating variance or standard deviation of group frequency data, you want to use this formula right here, the one with the frequency in it, because we only have frequencies. So please know that for the test, you'll only be given these two columns. You'll be given apparent limits, and you'll be given the frequencies. All right, so let's look at this formula. It says the sum of frequencies times little cursive x squared. Now please remember that little cursive x was the deviation score with raw data. It was x minus x bar. But we don't have any x's, so the best we can do is mid minus the mean. That's what little cursive x is equal to. Okay? So, mid minus the mean squared. So the first thing we need to do is we need to calculate the mean. When we calculate the mean in a previous lesson, and maybe you can remember how to do it, the mean is just the sum of the frequency times the midpoints divided by n. And so the first thing we have to do to calculate the mean, the first thing we have to do is get midpoints. Take lower limit plus the upper limit, divide by 2, and we get all the midpoints. So the first column is we make midpoints. And then the next column, we have to do frequency times midpoints. So we do 5 times 85.5, and we get this value. So we get the frequency times midpoint values. We did this before in calculating the mean of group frequency data in lesson 4. We sum them all up, 5066, divide by the total frequency, and we get our mean. So this is our mean right here, 45.23. That takes us to the new step of the problem. We have to calculate the deviation score, little cursive x, or mid minus the mean. So we have to take all of these mid values right here and subtract 45.23 from them. 85.5 minus 45.23 is 40.27. 75.5 minus 45.23 is 30.27. So we get all these mid minus the mean scores. Some will be negative. Okay? Mid minus the mean, that's our little cursive x score. But then the formula says we need a square value of that. So we're going to need cursive x squared, mid minus mean squared. So we take each of these values and we square them. And we come up with some big numbers, 1621.63. This squared is that, this squared is that, this squared is that. Right on down the line. Now we have our little cursive x score. Still with me? Little cursive x squared. Now the formula says take those and multiply them by frequency. So we're going to take this column right here and multiply by this column, frequency. Frequency times little cursive x squared. And when you do this, get some pretty big numbers here. This is frequency times little cursive x squared. 8,108 for the first one, and so on down the line. That's f times little cursive x squared. And then what's the formula say? Let's sum them all. We add them all up. We come up with this large number, 31,491.96. And that is our numerator. You plug that right in there. And then it says n minus 1. N is our total frequency at 112. 112 minus 1 is 111. We take this, divided by 111, we get 283.711, which is our variance. Again, so if I asked you just for variance of this data, you would stop right here, this would be the answer. But if I asked for standard deviation, you square root that number, and you get 16.844. That is the standard deviation of this group frequency problem.